Coffee and Headlines is brought to you by the generous support of our viewers and the following community partners: Best Cord Cutting TV, Bravo's Restaurant Bar, El Rey Lounge de Versalles, Joint Boutique Hotel and Cowork, Monson Brewing Company, Puerto Vallarta Neurofeedback, Puerto Vallarta Owners Reps, Oculto, and Siam Cocina Thai. Thank you for your support, and thank you for supporting our community partners. Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we break down news and headlines from our city, our state, and our country, and try to create nurturing connections within ourselves and our city, and all the wonderful things that are available here for us to enjoy. I hope you had a great weekend. Today is Monday, April 7. Another week begins, and it's a little warmer. We know it was going to be, but hey, it is what it is. We don't have a lot of news today. We will have some very uneventful bit of news, but then we're going to talk about some interesting things later on. And I have an amazing feel good surprise for everyone in the second half of the broadcast. So, as usual, feel free to add a capital letter Q at the beginning of your comment if you have something important that you wish to share. And of course, if you're watching live for the first time and would like a nice little welcome, feel free to let us know by adding a capital letter N as in new to your comment. Let's get on with the news and take it from there. Hold on just a second. Bam, there we go. So this one has to do with the new municipal cemetery at El Zancudo. It remains controversial because since its inception under the previous administration, the land purchase was highly questioned due to suspicions of overpricing. The city council acquired 97,865 square meters from private individuals for 84 million pesos. It is located in a rural area near El Zancudo, north of Puerto Vallarta, on State Highway 544, and it covers an area of almost 10 hectares. The project consisted of 4 phases, but the government quickly realized that the land was not suitable for a cemetery. It had to be filled with layers of dirt to accommodate for the water table. And what authorities have realized is that it is a lot more expensive to adequate the plot to become, or the piece of land to become, a cemetery. So they'll only fix one section of the location as a cemetery, as you can see in this chido art rendering. And chido in Spanish means cool. I suppose it's cool. And it'll become operational in June. What are they going to do with the rest of the land that is unsuited to put bodies in there remains a mystery. Now, this is good news. This is exciting. You are looking at Las Juntas, where the letters of Puerto Vallarta can be seen laying down on the bottom left-hand corner of the photograph. And this is about staff from the Jalisco Ministry of Infrastructure and Public Works here in Jalisco, supervising the progress of the construction of the interchange that is being built there. One of the highlights of this tour was to oversee the progress on the Las Juntas Bridge, specifically where the welcome signs were located. The project, as you know, will facilitate access to and from Puerto Vallarta, improving travel times for both residents and tourists. And this other bit of news is essentially the same thing, but it came from a different news source, and I thought I would share it just because I found the photograph to be rather interesting. I don't drive past this intersection frequently, so it's good to know that work is ongoing. And of course, this will continue for quite some time, I believe. Oh, what was the deadline for this one? I forget. I forget, but this is not going to happen overnight. By the time this is done, Puerto Vallarta will have a brand new overpass that, again, will facilitate travel time. Now, let me set up the weather forecast so we can see what's going on out there. Believe me, it's sunny out, says our lovely weatherman. Today, we are enjoying 24 degrees, a humidity level of 61%, and we have a forecast of clear skies throughout the day with a high of 26 and a low of 17. Then tomorrow, clear skies in the morning with mostly cloudy skies in the afternoon with a high of 27 and a low of 16. And then Wednesday, we can expect a humid day with clear skies throughout the day, a high of 28 and a low of 17. So those low temperatures are starting to increase, but we know the drill. It happens every year. Now, check out this awesome photograph I found on Facebook this morning. This is the Vallarta Garden Club weeding warriors taking care of planters in, well, it looks like Basilio Vadillo. I'm not sure, but they had an event this morning that took place at 9 a.m. What do these volunteers do? They go and weed and paint planters and then go out for mimosas. I mean, how fun is that? I had the opportunity of meeting some of the volunteers for the garden club during our Hands on Vallarta event. And it was really heartwarming to meet some of the people that, out of their own time, have taken it upon themselves to beautify some areas of our city. And that is something amazing. I also saw this photograph of performer Delilah Boku, who is undergoing a beauty makeover to celebrate the music of Annie Lennox and the Eurythmics in two performances that are coming up later on this month. So I'm sure this is going to be good. Delilah will be joining me at the Spotlight in a couple of weeks to talk about her performance, and I look forward to chatting with her. As you can see this week, I will welcome Lawrence Goodwin from El Rey Barbecue Lounge de Versalles. Notice the name change. They went from El Rey Lounge to El Rey Barbecue Lounge. So clearly the barbecue thing has worked out wonders for this awesome venue in Versalles. So we'll get a nice update from Lawrence about what they're up to. And then the following week, again, we will welcome Delilah along with Dominic Riggins, who's going to talk about real estate services. Then on the 23rd, we are going to welcome Rebecca Stoling, who's going to talk about her brand new library for children. I had that chance to welcome Rebecca and have a conversation with her during Hands on Vallarta about her wonderful project, and I can't wait to learn more about it. As you can see, there's plenty of spots available for interviews on the Spotlight. Interviews for the on the Spotlight are free for anyone that wishes to toot your own horn and share news about your wonderful event, your products, your services, anything that you bring to the table that would be of interest or perhaps inspiration to our English-speaking community. And of course, I'm getting very, very, very excited about my presentation on Rent, this amazing Pulitzer Prize winning musical. This is going to be on Thursday at 5 o'clock at the Joint Boutique Hotel. And I ask you, where were you? What was your life like when Rent came out on Broadway? Feel free to share your comments. Feel free to let me know or not. Maybe Rent is completely new to you, but do know that this musical was extremely transformational for many, and for myself, it moved me in many ways. And now, you know, over 40 years later, yes, 40? 35, 40 years later, it continues to move me in new and unexpected ways. So I am hoping that a lot of people will attend. And speaking of attending, all kinds of wonderful things continue to stem from my presentation behind the scenes of Hands on Vallarta, where a group of wonderful individuals, some associated with nonprofit organizations, some not, came together to learn free tools, smart strategies, and a little bit of AI magic so that they could amplify their own projects and missions. And I want to share with you some of the things that were shared with me this past weekend that totally filled my heart. First of all, my dear friend and community partner, Stan Wagner, began building a website for his nonprofit Pug 911 Rescue Project. And I loved the homepage when he shared it with me. You got to love the brilliance of the phrase, saving pugs one snort at a time. I mean, if you've spent any time with pugs, you know that they're big snorters. So Stan wrote to me and he said, I was able to use my free Google email to create a Google site. I paid for the nonprofit domain and was able to connect the two. This is a huge cost savings for dinky projects that deserve the credibility of a domain, but not the hundreds of dollars from GoDaddy, Squarespace, Wix, or other website builders. Well, I don't think there's anything dinky about saving pugs one snort at a time. So congratulations to Stan. I won't share the website because it's still being worked on, but I was so moved with what Stan was able to do thanks to attending the workshop. And then there was this Beth totally brought tears to my eyes. As you know, the International Friendship Club has many fundraising programs, including their Puerto Vallarta home tours. So I heard from the amazing Beth Tesler, who oversees the International Friendship Club home tour program. Beth wrote, Hola Paco, I hope you're doing great and enjoying your well-deserved weekend. I wanted to reach out and let you know how much I've learned from your class last week. It's been mind-blowing. I've even created 2 AI podcasts in just 5 minutes, and they sound amazing. I'm already planning to use these tools for IFC training next season and other platforms like Facebook. Thanks a bunch for sharing your expertise and being so generous with your time. Needless to say, I was so curious and asked to hear one of the sample podcasts that she was able to create. And these are, just for those of you that don't know, these are 2-minute podcasts that can be created with a tool from Google if you submit relevant information for this to happen. So let me share a sample of what Beth was able to create to promote the International Friendship Club home tours. Check this out.
So, you know those IFC home tours in Puerto Vallarta?
Mm-hmm.
We're going deep on those today. Like, what really goes on?
Behind the scenes.
Exactly. Based on their own training for volunteers, 2024-2025 season.
Oh, wow. So we're getting the insider scoop.
Think of it as your cheat sheet. So you don't got to read through all that yourself.
Love it. Saves me time.
And you'll be surprised it's not as simple as it seems.
You're telling me the amount of organization just from skimming this.
It's wild.
You picture showing up, pretty houses, done.
But no.
This presentation is like lifting the curtain.
And they say it takes a village. They mean it.
Seriously.
Oh, yeah. We're talking all sorts of volunteer roles.
Okay, so not just like one group doing everything.
Nope. People scouting the homes, people running the buses, you name it.
That's actually impressive.
And it's all for a good cause. This isn't new either.
How long has this been going on?
Since 1986, these tours have been raising money.
Wow, that's a long time.
For women's and children's programs right there in Puerto Vallarta.
That's amazing.
So impact, Andy history, and over 40 volunteers.
So
Dedicated
this
people.
this is what Beth was able to create on her own to promote the IFC home tours And there's like an extra 11 minutes to this amazing presentation, which I am sure she's going to fine tune and put to good use. So I was feeling all good about myself and having empowered a few individuals. And then came this other feedback from Natalie Herling, who serves as chairman of the Executive Advisory Committee for the ART VallARTa Museum, after my so called attack of last week. And it reads like this: I will spare you the entire conversation, but it began with, I want to leave PV because of people like you, and ended with calling me heartless. Yes, heartless. Welcome to today's shit show. Yeah. Okay, let us start with me reminding you that what's going to happen now is me expressing my opinion. We're not going to attack anyone. And if you're here, I appreciate it, because then my opinion must be important to you. And of course, you are here on your own accord. I sure hope nobody is forcing you to watch. Nobody is going to force you to abide by my opinion. Everybody is entitled to their own. And so is Natalie. So the first thing that I'm going to ask here is, we are not going to chastise Natalie for saying what she said. She spoke with passion, and I recognize the language. I'm pretty fluent in passion myself. If you've ever attended one of my music appreciation presentations at the Joint Boutique Hotel, you know that I speak passion. Of course, speaking passion does not always make you efficient. And if you've been watching Coffee and Headlines for some time, you know that I could write the book on how to fuck things up by speaking with passion. So this is how it went, and this is what it is. The museum and Coffee and Headlines have something in common. For starters, we both rely on contributions from patrons like you. So in that spirit, I wish to defend my words and actions. To be clear, I did not attack the museum. I expressed my opinion about something, and that opinion continues to be, it is unfortunate that some performance venues, art galleries, in this case museums, and artists, fail to compel audiences to attend by providing relevant information about their events with the general public. This is nothing new as far as these venues are concerned, and it's definitely nothing new as far as the way I feel. I have expressed this opinion one way or another a number of times here at Coffee and Headlines. It so happens to be unfortunate that it happened around an exhibition by an internationally renowned artist that I happen to know personally and admire, and for which the description of the event only reads, Felix Dion's You Burn Me, Me Quemas exhibition at Arte VallARTa Museo through June 1st, 2025. I regretted the fact, and continue to regret, that many times important artists come to Puerto Vallarta, and we may never know that they're here or their importance, simply because we are not told about them by the venues. This is kind of like walking into a restaurant and asking, so what do you serve? And the restaurant saying, well, sit down, order something, and you'll find out on your own. You know? So I expressed my feels, and I offer to cheerfully apologize if somebody proved me wrong. If the museum actually posted something more compelling about this exhibition, I said, I'll gladly apologize and take my words back. But nobody did. I checked the museum's Facebook post this morning, And I checked the museum's website again this morning, and there was no change. Still, we're all about nurturing connections here at Coffee and Headlines. So, on the show notes for the April 2nd broadcast, I gladly shared some links on the artist just to give you, the consumer, the viewer, a taste of his work. And for the record, if you're asking, this is not the first time that I've promoted the ART VallARTa Museum. I've done a walking tour of the art school. I have invited Natalie a number of times to the spotlight for a free interview, and this is all well documented in correspondence with her, and she's never taken up the offer. I have enjoyed the recent opportunity to interview a couple of artists that were presenting their performances at the ART VallARTa performance space at the art school, Jamie Brickhouse and his storytelling one-man show, and the wonderful improv ladies of Leave It to Cleavage. I have cheerfully attended their performances and have cheerfully promoted them afterwards. Of course, I don't speak often about ART VallARTa Museum here because here at Coffee and Headlines, I amplify information. I don't make it up. So if I have nothing to amplify, how can I do my job? I enjoyed interviewing Jamie and Diana because they reached out to me and I was more than happy to oblige. Now, in my comment on that day, I not only invited to be proven wrong, and I would have gladly apologized, I also extended an invitation to Natalie to attend our Hands-on Vallarta behind the scenes presentation where we unveiled all kinds of tools to improve your self-promotion and to rely on AI. And I invited Natalie to attend for free. She didn't take me up on the invitation, unfortunately. But had she been there, she might have enjoyed this case study, which we presented when we were demoing our favorite AI assistant. I hope I'm not boring you here. We asked our favorite AI assistant, I know you are an expert in visual art. Can you answer a question? The answer was, of course, what is your question? Then I wrote, the Guadalajara-born Chicano gay artist Felix Dion will be exhibiting at a local gallery. I'm putting together a Facebook event description. Can you help me compel audiences to attend, particularly those that may be turned off by his strong sensual imagery of same-sex couples, male or female, being affectionate with one another? Then came the response. Join us for a special exhibition featuring the breathtaking work of Felix Dion, a Guadalajara-born Chicano artist whose art blends vintage illustration with powerful storytelling. His work is a celebration of love, culture, and identity, an exquisite fusion of Mexican heritage, classical aesthetics, and a deep exploration of human connection. Dion's art draws inspiration from vintage postcards, historical illustrations, and folk traditions, reimagining them to honor romance, freedom, and diversity. His work speaks to the universal themes of love and belonging, inviting the viewers, regardless of background, to find beauty in the tenderness and intimacy of his subjects. Then we asked for a Spanish translation, and it was delivered. And all of this happened in less than 2 minutes with this free online tool that anyone can use to amplify their message if they choose to do so. If they choose to do so. So what can you do with this information? Well, you can agree or disagree with my stance on whether organizations are providing enough information or not. You're entitled to your opinion as much as anybody else is. But don't turn your back on Art Vallarta or any of their projects. Do not turn your back on them for speaking with passion. Clearly, Art Vallarta can use all the help they can get. Reach out. Reach out to them and find out if you can be of service financially or otherwise. If they are prepared to welcome you with a mission statement, financials, projects, and volunteer information, and they share this information with you, then we will have been part of another successful nurturing connection. And that is what we are all about here in Coffee and Headlines. We live for those. But if Arte Vallarta Museum is not ready to answer fundamental questions about how you can be of help or how your money is spent, then that's not on me. And that's not on my opinion. And if promoting this project repeatedly and giving Natalie a chance to learn something new and streamline her workload makes me inhuman, well, that is also her opinion, and she is entitled to it, just as I am entitled to mine. With all that said, here's our chit chat section. Let's see what we have. I see good mornings. Thank you very much for those. I see more good mornings. I see Albert had a good time on the ADA yesterday with great people. I highly recommend this boat. Great food, great service, great times. I'm glad you had a good time. I see more hellos. I see more hellos. Gary, it is so good to see you. Enjoying a great combination of coffee and headlines and delicious breakfast at Casa de Toño in Ciudad de Mexico. Oh, you're traveling again. You make me envious in the best way possible. Once again, it was great to see you at Hands on Vallarta, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Laura asks, any news on the new pier lately? No. The last I've read on the new pier, and this is the pier that is going to be built in Colonia Cinco de Diciembre, was that somebody went and interviewed the owners of Hotel Rosita, which is like 1 or 2 blocks away from where the new pier is going to be built. And the owner said, well, nobody's told us anything, which is no big whoop because, I mean, the city does not necessarily have to inform the Hotel Rosita of their activities. But as soon as I see that they're doing construction or something, I'll go check it out. We'll do a walking tour. Let's see what else we have. Pinche Chris. Do they weed at 420? Well, I don't know if the garden club weeds at 420. I can tell you that some afternoons I do, and I'm going to leave it at that. Let's see what else we have. Oh, Barbara, I am so with you. Kudos to the Vallarta Garden Club, such an outstanding organization. I wish, and I'm going to talk to them to see if they have great before and after photographs of Basilio Vadillo. If you had walked Basilio Vadillo some 15 years ago, you would not imagine the difference. And that is only one glorious street that the Garden Club has transformed. Let's see what else we have. Yay! Sean flies back to Puerto Vallarta in 5 days. Bring your appetite. I say that only because there's a lot of great eating options here, as you know. Carmen asks, when does Easter and Holy Week actually start to prepare accordingly? Well, I actually looked it up the other day, and I'm going to put out my calendar. Semana Santa, oh my God, Semana Santa, the week of Semana Santa starts this Sunday, the 13th. Then things get exciting on the 17th, which is not this Thursday, but a week from this Thursday. That's when people start coming in. And then, of course, Semana Pascua starts on the 20th, which is a week from this coming Sunday. Let's see what else we have. Angela, it is so good to hear you. Aren't you? This is Angela, who co-hosted Handsome Vallarta with me. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing to see all these organizations like doing wonderful things? I am just thrilled. Pugman Stan Wagner, he's got a really cute little black pug available, recently sterilized. Thank you very much for that. And then Betsy says, rent was very important in my life when I still lived in New York City. I moved to Mexico a short time after. Oh, Beth, we're going to cry. We're going to cry. It's going to be wonderful. Fantastic podcast. Good work. Thank you very much, Linda. Oh, you're probably referred to the podcast that was created by our friends at the International Friendship Club. Isn't that amazing? Then Dale says, good morning. I saw Stan yesterday morning and he was so excited about what he learned at the workshop. He told me he can show me how to make a website. Muchas gracias. We are here to create connections and to enjoy nurturing gratitude. That's what makes Coffee and Headlines work. Carmen comments, yes, do stand by your opinion. So sad some cannot see a growing opportunity and take it personal. Again, I speak in passion, with passionate words very frequently, and I get myself in trouble for being passionate because I do. But passionate and productive both start with the letter P. I just try to be mindful of not withholding my passion, but being a part of the solution, not a part of the problem. Let's see. Do not apologize for your opinion. I don't. It is my opinion. And Bill supports my opinion. I appreciate that, Bill. If you had told me that you didn't, I would have respected that as well. I would have inquired about your opinion because that's part of the learning opportunity. But I certainly would not have called you inhumane. That's all I'm going to say. Oh my goodness. Sean says, still waiting for your torta recommendations. Thank you for that. I haven't forgotten. I have started taking photographs. I took photographs of the great tortas that take place across the street. I want to go to a couple of other torta places. And so just know that I'm working on it. Let's see. This is a little long, but I'm going to try to read it. After living here for over 6 years, I have observed at one time or another, you will pretty much cross paths with all the movers and shakers. There will be disagreements and drama guaranteed. You are allowed to outgrow people who drain your energy. It's so draining living in paradise sometimes. You can't please everyone, Paco. For what it's worth, I appreciate you. Thank you very much, Linda. I appreciate you back. That's all I'm going to say. And I think this brings us to the end of today's broadcast. Again, I appreciate your thoughts, your comments, your opinions, your agreements and your disagreements. But most importantly, I appreciate your support. And I appreciate your amplifying our message here by clicking on subscribe, by forwarding, by liking. Everything counts. Thank you very much. And I will see you again tomorrow morning.